So class, welcome to the lecture number 22nd of the course, Basic Electrical Engineering. So in the previous lecture, I told you, previous few two lectures we studied about the different types of powers. We studied with the instantaneous power, which is nothing but the product of instantaneous voltage and instantaneous current. Then I told you, because of the varying nature of this instantaneous power, it is very difficult to measure it. So instead of instantaneous power, calculating the instantaneous power, what we do, we take the average of the instantaneous power over one complete cycle, and we say that it is the average power, and we measure the average power. So then after studying this average power, we studied complex power. Then what is this apparent power, then what is real power, what is reactive power. So we studied all these. Okay, so next let us solve one numerical, okay, based on this formula. So in this numerical, we are given a circuit, a voltage source of 220 angle 0 volts RMS. This is the RMS voltage. So, and this is the load is 15 ohm and minus 20 J capacitor. Okay, so this is the load, this part is the load, and this is the line. So we have a line of some resistance and some reactance, which is inductive reactance, and we have a capacitive load. So the resistance is 15 ohm and the reactance is minus 10 J ohm. Okay, so what we are asked to calculate in the question, we have to calculate the real and reactive power. Means real means P and reactive means Q. Okay, means we have to calculate the real and reactive power absorbed by source, absorbed by line, and absorbed by load. Okay, so I am supposing that the current that is flowing in the circuit, since this line is connected in series with the load, so the total current that is flowing in this circuit, it is I am labeling it by I phasor. Okay, so next let us calculate the total impedance of the circuit. Okay, total impedance will be nothing, this impedance plus this impedance, because they are connected in series. So I am getting Z, total impedance equal to 19 minus 8J. So if I will convert this into polar form, I will get 20.615 angle minus 22.83 ohm. So why is this negative angle here, and why is this reactive sign negative here? So this implies that this capacitive reactance is more as compared to the inductive reactance. Okay, so what will be the current I phasor? It will be voltage divided by the whole impedance. What is the voltage? V is nothing but, this is again a phasor, is nothing but 220 angle 0. So I am substituting it. I is equal to 220 angle 0 divided by Z. I am getting current is equal to 10.67 angle 22.83 amperes, which is nothing but the RMS current which is flowing from here. Okay, so now we have to calculate the real and reactive power, P and Q. So we know that what is complex power, S is nothing but P plus J times Q. So it is better to calculate S, then, so that if we will calculate S, we will get what is P and what is Q. Okay, so look here, I am saying complex power from source. What is the complex power from source? Voltage of the source multiplied the current that is coming out of the source. So complex power from source, S is equal to nothing but voltage multiplied by current, but we take the conjugate of the current. Okay, for calculating the complex power, we take V I conjugate. This is V, this is I, and we take the conjugate of I. So V is 220 angle 0 and I is 10.67. So if we will take its conjugate, it will become 10.67 angle minus 22.83, because the angle will reverse here. It is positive, here it will be replaced by a negative because of this conjugate sign. So if you will solve this, you will get S is equal to, I am using the subscript, S is the complex power and subscript S is source. Okay, so which is nothing but PS plus J times QS. This is S. So it is coming out, taking the product, it is coming out 2163.87 minus 910.9 J. So if I will convert this into polar form, I will get S is equal to, S in polar form, 2.43 angle 22.83. Okay, So however, you are not asked this now as in this polar form, so neglect this thing, we don't need this thing. I have unnecessarily solved this thing here. Okay, so S is equal to nothing P plus J times QS. So multiplying these two terms and converting them into this rectangular form, I am getting P is equal to 2163.87 minus 910.9 J. So what will be P? Real part is P and reactive part is Q. So real part is P, it is 2163.87 watt. So I will convert it into kilowatt, it will be 2.163 kilowatt. And the reactive power is 910.9 J. Sorry, not J, minus 910.9. It is plus, it is minus. So Q is minus. I will convert this volt ampere into kilo terms. So it will be minus 0.91 kVAR. So negative, what do you mean by Q is equal to negative? Q negative means that it is leading power. Okay, it is leading. And you can see that overall the net capacitance reactance will be reactive. So obviously if the net capacitance is reactive, the reactive power will lead. Q will lead because the power factor is leading in this case. Okay, in case of a inductor the power factor is leading, and in case of a capacitor the power factor is lagging. Now drop in line is nothing but I am representing L subscript for the line. VL is equal to I into ZL. What is ZL? 4 plus 2J. You can see this is a reactor here, inductor here. So this, in case of a line, the circuit, line circuit is inductive. So you will see that Q will be positive here. So drop in the line is I into ZL, 10.67 angle 22.83 multiplied by 4 plus 2J. Simply Ohm's law, V is equal to IR, V is equal to IZ. So I am getting V is equal to 47.72 angle 49.39. This is voltage in RMS. Now what will be the drop in line, SL? Voltage in the line multiplied by the conjugate of current that is flowing through the line, which is same as I, load current. So 47.74 multiplied by this current conjugate, so it will be minus 22.83. You will get S equal to 455.43 plus 226.6 J. Look here, the sign is positive because we have an inductive circuit. Okay, because positive means Q is lagging. So real power is nothing but 509.17 watt. Sorry, 415.43 watt, and Q is nothing but 227.67 volt ampere reactive VAR. And because of the positive sign, we say it is a lagging. So now I am using the subscript load for the load. So S load, what is the complex power that is absorbed by the load, is V load into I conjugate. So V load is nothing but V load is nothing but Z load multiplied by the current. This is Z load 15 minus 10J multiplied by current 10.67 into angle 22.83. This term will give me V load. And what is I conjugate? I conjugate is again 10.67 angle 23.83. Okay, so S load is 1707.7 minus 1138.489 J. Look here, Q is negative. Why Q is negative here? Because the load is capacitive. We have a capacitive load here, resistor plus capacitor. So because of this capacitive load, the Q will be negative. Negative means leading. So P will be 1707 watt and Q will be minus 1138.489 kVAR leading. One interesting fact I would like to mention here, that in case of this AC circuits, complex power, real power and reactive power, they are all conserved. Means whatever complex power, real power or reactive power is supplied by this load, same power will be absorbed by these elements. Okay, for example, suppose I am saying what is the real power that is supplied by this load. Real power is nothing but 2163. Okay, so what is the real power that is absorbed by the load? Source is supplying how much power? Real power 2163.87. 2163.87. So what is the real power that is absorbed by the load? If you will see the real power absorbed by the load, first is 455.43, and that of the this is the line, and that of the load is 1707.7. So it is coming out as 2163.13, which is nothing but 2163.87. There is a hardly small difference because I am taking here the up to 2 decimal. Okay, Here I am taking the P up to 2 decimal, but in the calculator it is shown up to 4 decimal or 5 decimal. So that is why a small error is there. Look here. So sum of reactive power by this line and load is 2163.13 and that of the source is 2163.87. Okay, if you can see the reactive power that is supplied by the load is minus 910.9 kVAR. Okay, so let us see the total reactive power by the line and load. So it is line is 227.66 and that of load is minus 11.1138.489, 910.829 negative. Look here, 910.89. Okay, so it is coming out say. So this means that the power is conserved. Power is conserved. RSCR conserved in AC circuit. Whether it is real power, reactive power or complex power. So this means whatever power is supplied from the source, same power is applied by the load and line. Okay, so this is about the numerical. So one more numerical, but this numerical is an unsolved numerical in the book. So what is the numerical? We are given a voltage source V, but we don't know what is V. We are given a 20 ohm resistor, a 30 ohm resistor here, and a 10 J ohm capacitor. Here a 20 J ohm inductor and a 60 ohm resistor. So what we are given in the question? We are given that the power dissipation around this resistor is nothing but 240 watt, and it is also given that assume that the current in this resistor, it has no phase shift, means whatever is the voltage across this resistor, what is the phase of the voltage in this resistor, same will be the phase of the current. Okay, so from here you can easily say that current through this 60 ohm resistor is nothing but P is, you know that I square R is equal to P. So I will be P divided by R under root. So it is 240, R is 60 under root. So current in 60 ohm will be under root 4, which is equal to 2 amperes. So you know that the current that is flowing in this 2 ampere. So same current will flow in this 20 J ohm inductor. So the current that is flowing in this resistor, I am saying it is I is equal to 2 ampere, which is equal to 2 angle 0. Okay, so what will be the drop across this line, across this element? It will be, suppose I am saying the drop here is Vx in phasor form, it will be nothing but 2 angle 0 multiplied by 60 plus 20J. Okay, you will get Vx. Similarly, this Vx is the drop across this line, as this branch as well. Okay, so similarly you can calculate the current that is flowing in this line. Suppose I am saying this is I, this is I1. So the total current here I will be I plus I1. So once you will know the total current, then you can calculate whatever is asked in the question. You are asked what is the V. Okay, you are asked what is the complex power across each element. So you can calculate it easily. There is no problem. Okay, since you got what is current in this ampere branch, you will calculate what is the current in this branch, because you know from this current you will calculate Vx. So Vx is the drop that is across this branch. Same drop will be across this branch. So you know what is Vx here, what is the drop across this branch. You can calculate current through this branch because you know the Z of this branch. Okay, so this is your homework. So you will calculate, you will solve this problem at your home, but there is no need to mail me or to forward me this question, because the answers are given in the book. You can cross check the answers from the book and you will see whether your answers are correct or not. Okay. So yeah, so far we have seen that for measuring the power we need the power factor as well. Okay, that is cos phi term. Okay, so you know that if this power factor is equal to unity, we say that voltage and current are in phase. So means resistive circuit, but it is not always possible that because that the voltage and current will remain in phase. because we know that majority of our loads, whether you will say that we have washing machines, we have motors at our home, and majority of the industrial loads as well, they are inductive loads. Inductive means it is an RL load. So if majority of the loads are inductive load RL, so what will happen? So power factor will be lagging. So what do you mean by lagging power factor? Because we say as the power factor increases, power factor decreases. Okay, means power factor decreases, more current will flow in the circuit. Okay, so if more current will flow in the circuit, there will be more drop in the line, because these lines, now this transmission or this distribution lines, they have some resistance and reactance. Okay, so because of this resistance and reactance, there will be some loss in the line as well. So if we will increase the current, if the current is increased, if there is more current in the line, what will happen? The I square R and I square X drop in the line, it will increase, which will lead to loss in the power, because no one is paying for, means utility is not paying for that loss. The consumer is finally paying for that loss. So what we do, we try to increase our power factor, because if the power factor is equal to unity, at that time what will happen? Minimum current will flow in the line. So if the smaller current will flow in the line, what will happen? At that time, this losses will be losses will reduce. So I will show you with the help of an example, it will clear. Suppose that I am saying I have a circuit, I have a 100-volt source here, and this is a line, and I have a small resistance in the line. I am saying that it is 5 ohm, and I have a load here. I am saying the power load resistance and the power that is dissipated in this load, it is 500 watt. Okay, so if it is 500 watt power, okay, so what will be the current that is flowing through this now? Wait, I have a load. I'm saying I have a load here. Load is 500 watt, and a source here. I have a 100 watt source. So yeah, I can show it you like this. This is 5 ohm, this is 100 ohm. Suppose I'm saying this 200 volt source. So tell me if the current that is flowing in, some current is flowing in this circuit. Okay, so if the current is high, what will be the drop in this circuit? The drop in the circuit will be more. Okay, so or I can say what will be I. If I am saying I, if I increases, if current increases, so what will be I square 5? It will also increase. Wait a minute. Sorry for the disturbance. So I am saying that I have a circuit. Okay, so I am saying I have a 1000 ohm resistor here, 100 ohm resistor here, and a 5 ohm resistor here, and a 200 volt source. So I am saying this is my load and this is my line. Okay, so what is happening? What my aim is that maximum power should transfer to this load. So I am saying if my current increases, so the loss in this resistor, it will also increase. So if the loss in this I square R, that is the loss in the line, will increase, more less power will be transferred to the load. Okay, so what my aim is if the current is small, the drop power dissipation in this circuit is small. Okay, so how can you reduce the current? You can reduce the current. I will show you with the help of this phasor diagram in power factor correction method, how you will reduce the current. Okay, so we are saying this power factor correction is nothing but the method by which we increase the power factor of the load, power factor of the circuit, without altering the voltage or current to the original load. And this method is known as power factor correction. Means we have this, suppose I am saying I have an inductive circuit, this is my load, RL load, and I have a voltage V across it, and the current that is flowing in this load is IL. Okay, so you know this is an inductive load. This is an RL load, means inductive load. What will happen if I will draw the phasor diagram of this circuit? So what will be the voltage? Voltage, I am taking voltage on the horizontal axis. So what will be this current IL? It will lag this voltage by some angle. So I am showing it by this method here, IL. So you can see this IL phasor is lagging behind this voltage figure by angle theta 1. Okay, so here power factor is what? Power factor is nothing but cos of theta 1. Okay, so improving the power factor means reducing theta. Okay, improving power factor means reducing theta. You got my point? Reducing theta, because theta will reduce, cos theta will increase. So our aim is to make power factor should be equal to 1 or unity, because when power factor is unity, minimum current will flow through the circuit. Okay, so what I am saying that I will improve the power factor of this circuit, or I will reduce the theta 1 to some other angle theta 2 without altering the IL that is flowing in this circuit and without altering the voltage V across this circuit. Okay, so what I am doing, since this is a lagging circuit, so I will make an arrangement that this circuit means I will add some equipment here or some component element here, so that the current across that element, it is leading current. Okay, so once if it is a leading current, the combination of that leading current and this IL, it will give me a new current, so which will lead this IL. Okay, how it can be done, I will show you here. Suppose what I am doing, I am adding a capacitor here in parallel with this circuit. So this was an RL circuit, now same circuit here. I am adding a capacitor in parallel with this, a capacitor C. Okay, and the current through this inductive circuit, I am saying it is the same current IL. Okay, the voltage across this circuit, it is same voltage V as it was here. Okay, now I am saying, since one more current, this is IL and this is IC, the current that is flowing through the capacitor, and the combination of IL plus IC is nothing but I, total current. If you will see at this point, if you will apply KCL at this point, you will get I is equal to IL plus IC. This current I is equal to IL plus IC. Okay, so same circuit, first I will draw V. What is V? This is V and this is IL. So this is my V. Okay, and this is my IL. So what is the angle between V and IL here? Theta 1. Same angle I am showing here as theta 1. Okay, so far good. Now see here, now I have a capacitor here. What is the voltage across the capacitor? Same voltage V, because it is connected in parallel with this branch. So the voltage across the capacitor will be V. Now this capacitive current IC and this voltage V, the voltage that is across the capacitor, suppose I am saying the voltage across this capacitor here, it is V, same V what we have here. So this current will lead this voltage by 90 degree, because I have taught you that the current across the capacitor leads the voltage by 90 degree. So I am saying this is the voltage V, so the current should lead 90 degree, means in this somewhere here. So 90 degree, starting from here, this is a 90 degree. I am saying this is IC and this angle is 90. So no, this angle is 90. You can see IC is leading V by 90 degree. So you have two vectors, one is IL, another is IC. I will draw it here on some other page. Let me see the page, if I have some pages. I am saying this is my V and this was my IL. Suppose this was my IL. I think it is not 100% this straight. I will again draw it here. So I am saying this is my V, this is my IL, and this is my IC. Okay, this angle is theta 1, this angle is 90. So can you add these two currents? How do you add this? Using parallelogram law. I will say this is my IC. I will just draw this IC here. Okay, so I am saying this is my IC. Okay, so what will be this IL plus IC? It will be nothing but, I told you, I total current is nothing but IL plus IC. So this is my IL, this is IC, and this is my I, total current. So what is the phase difference between V and I? It is theta. Suppose I am saying it is now theta 2. Now you can see this is my IL and this is my I. So which vector is longer in length? You can see IL is longer in length as compared to IC. Okay, so means we can say that now the total current has reduced. The total current that is flowing through the line earlier the current that is flowing through the line, means because our load is connected across the line na, from which the power is coming. So this is the line. So in this case, line voltage is nothing but the voltage that is flowing through load. But in this case, the line voltage is nothing, the voltage across the load plus the voltage across the capacitor. Sorry, current through the line is nothing but the current flowing through the load plus current flowing through the capacitor. Okay, so this is the total current. No, what is the phase difference between V and I? No, theta 2. Now here you can see that I is lesser than IL and theta 2 is lesser than theta 1. Okay, I am saying I is lesser than IL and theta 2 is lesser than theta 1. Okay, so that I can say cos theta 2 is greater than cos theta 1. So if I is lesser than IL, what will be the losses in the line? If I'm saying we have a line that has resistance R, so what will be the losses? Earlier the losses was in the line was same current was, earlier the line current was IL and the load current was same IL. So earlier the losses was IL square into R, and now the losses are I square into R, where R is the resistance of the line. Okay, so tell me, if I am saying this I is lesser than IL. Okay, so obviously I square R will be lesser than IL square R. So if it is lesser than IL square R, so losses will reduce. Okay, so if our losses are reducing by increasing the power factor because the current is decreasing. Okay, so this is one method. This is one method. Page number 4, where is page number 4? 1, 2, 3. Yes. 4. Page number 1, 2, 3, 4 are completed. So there is alternate way to explain this power factor correction method. So what is the alternate way? So that is the power triangle method. Power triangle method. Okay, so I showed you the power factor method, and now this is the power triangle method. So corresponding to the first figure, where we have only an RL circuit, figure A. Where is figure A? Let me show you. So this is a figure A and this is figure B. So corresponding to figure A, I will get this power triangle. So I am saying this is P, this is Q1, that is the reactive power that is absorbed by the load. Okay, and this is S1. So angle between P and S1, it gives me theta 1. So what will be P? P will be given by S1 cos theta 1. Okay, because P upon S is nothing but cos theta. Similarly, Q upon S is nothing but sin theta. So Q will be S1 sin theta. So from these two terms, I can calculate that Q is nothing but P tan theta 1. Okay, simply you take here, if you will take, you will take Q by P, Q1 by P perpendicular upon base is nothing but tan theta 1. So Q1 will be equal to P tan theta 1. Okay, now corresponding to this figure, well, we will discuss about this figure. So I am saying, let me show it here again. I am saying if I have a simple without power factor, this was without power factor improvement, this was my triangle, this was SQ1 P1. Okay, now I am using a capacitor. You know that in case of a capacitor, if we will talk about power triangle, if this is P, this is Q, L, this is QC, means reactive power is leading in case of a inductor and lagging in case of a capacitor. I am talking about the reactive power, not power factor. Okay, so this is Q. So this is Q leading reactive power in case of RL load, figure 1. Okay, figure A. Now what I am doing in figure B, this QC, what is QC? It is lagging. So means, suppose I am saying this is QC. This is QC. It will be in this direction. Okay, so what will I will get? This is Q1. Q1 was this. So this is QC from this point to this point. This is leading, this is lagging. So you will subtract these two, I will get this new. This is nothing but Q2. Q2 means reactive power absorbed by the circuit 2, because this much reactive power is provided by the capacitor. So this was my theta 1, this is my theta 2. Okay, so same thing I am showing here. Same thing I am showing here. So I am saying if we want to improve the power factor without changing the P, because P will not change, without changing the P, then the reactive power is Q2. Okay, if you want to improve the power factor from theta 1 to theta 2 without changing P, the new reactive power will be Q2, this much. Okay, so if you will see in this triangle, Q2 is nothing but P tan theta 2. Okay, and what is this QC? QC is nothing but Q1 minus Q2. QC is nothing but Q1 minus Q2. So what will be Q1? Q1 is nothing but P tan theta 1. So P tan theta 1 minus P tan theta 2, taking the P common, what are we left with? P multiplied by tan theta 1 minus tan theta 2. This is my QC. But you know that reactive power is nothing but V square divided by XC. Okay, so I am saying this is the reactive power that is supplied by the capacitor QC. QC will be nothing but V square RMS divided by XC. Why V? V is the voltage that was across the capacitor, and the same voltage was across the RL circuit as well. VRMS square by XC. XC is nothing but 1 by omega C. So this omega C will be written in the numerator. It will be VRMS square into omega C. So what will be C from this equation? C will be nothing but Q divided by VRMS square into omega. C will be nothing but QC divided by omega into VRMS square. So this is how you will select the value of the capacitance. How much reactive power you want to, how much power factor you want to reduce. Okay, based on that you can calculate C using this formula, Q divided by omega square omega VRMS square. Okay. So what is QC? We calculated from this formula. QC is nothing but P tan theta 1 minus tan theta 2. So we will substitute here. So we will get C is equal to P tan theta 1 minus tan theta 2 divided by omega VRMS square. So if you can see that the P active power or real power, it is unaffected by the power factor correction. Why it is unaffected by the power factor correction? Because we say that this capacitor and inductor, they will never dissipate this average power or real power. Okay, so if during the positive cycle they are absorbing, during the negative cycle they will supply back. So that thus the average power due to the capacitor is 0. That is why P will remain unaffected by the power factor correction method. So while solving this power factor we assume that the load is majority of the loads are inductive. So it is not always possible, it is not always true that the load will be always inductive. Sometimes we may have a capacitive load. Okay, in case of a capacitive load, the power factor is lagging. Okay, so power factor is leading. So what we do there, we will use inductor in parallel with that capacitive circuit. So there the average power, this reactive power will be supplied by the inductor. Okay, so it will be represented by QL, where QL is nothing but VRMS square divided by XL. So VRMS square divided by omega L. So L will be VRMS square divided by omega into QL. So this is how you will calculate the value of the inductor in case of a capacitive load. Okay, so QL will be nothing but Q1 minus Q2. So this was all about the power factor correction method. So next, let's see the power, how this wattmeter it measures power. So basically this wattmeter is nothing, it measures the average power that is absorbed by the load or real power. So basically this wattmeter, it has two coils. One is current coil, and this current coil, it has very low impedance, ideally zero, and this current coil is connected in series with the load, and this current coil, it will respond to the load current, means it will generate a flux that is proportional to the load current. Okay, the second coil, it is called as the voltage coil and is connected in parallel, and the impedance of this voltage coil is very large, ideally infinite, and this voltage coil, it will respond to the load voltage. Okay. So I am saying this current coil, it has a very low resistance, ideally zero. Ideally zero means it will act as short circuit, and this voltage coil, it has a very high impedance, ideally infinite. Ideally infinite means it will act as an open circuit. Okay. So this is the diagram for this watt meter. So we have one coil, this is the voltage coil, and this is the current coil. Okay, you can see how they are connected. So this voltage coil, it will respond to voltage across the load, and this current coil, it will respond to the current across that is flowing through the load. Okay, so what will happen when these two coils are energized? Okay, the mechanical inertia of the moving system, it will produces a deflection. Okay, it will produces a deflection. Okay, it will produces a deflection proportional to what? Proportional to the average value of the product of Vt and It. Okay, and this is the electrical representation or of an wattmeter method. So this is the current coil, this is the voltage coil. You can see the current coil measures the current that is flowing through the load, and this voltage coil, it measures the voltage that is across the load. So I am saying that ideally the current coil is short circuit, so there is no drop across the current coil, and voltage coil is open circuit, so no voltage will flow through this and voltage coil is open circuit, so no current, ideally no current should flow through this voltage coil. Okay, so I am saying when the two coils are energized, the mechanical inertia of the moving system, it will produce a deflection angle which is proportional to the product of the instantaneous voltage Vt and instantaneous current It. So the product is given by, suppose I am saying Vt is equal to Vm cos omega t plus theta v, and It is equal to Im cos omega t plus theta I. So what will be Vrms? Vm divided by root 2 angle theta v. Irms will be Im divided by root 2 angle theta I. So the power that is measured by this wattmeter, it will be nothing Vrms into Irms into cos theta v minus theta I, which is nothing but the average power. So basically this is the formula which is important. Okay, and why this current coil is represented has a very small resistance and ideally represented by a short circuit, because we don't want that there should be any drop across this current coil. The whole drop should be across this voltage coil. And why the impedance of the voltage coil is kept infinity, that is ideally open circuit, because we don't want that any part of the load current should flow through this voltage coil. We want that all the current should flow through the current coil and it should flow through the load, and all the voltage drop should be across the voltage coil and not across the current coil. Okay, so this is all about this power measurement, power factor correction, and wattmeter. So in the next class I will start with the three-phase power. Thank you very much.